So I'll have everything like that, things like that. So as we, you know what I'm saying, get more people, get more, just doing more things like the class schedule. Like anytime we have in the class or anything, I'll be posting like the class schedule here, announcements. And it's also like this little event tab. So like with this one, like you'll be able to just click on event details, boom, and then it'll show you like ins and outs and everything. But let's go on and hop into it. So what we got right here is DXY, right?
Yeah.
So this is the US dollar index. So pretty much what this is it's showing you what the value of the US dollar currency currently is, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I trade typically GU, which is going to be, all right, yeah. So GU is going to be like the British pound versus the US dollar. GJ, which is the British pound versus Japanese yen. Those are like my main two predominant pairs that I really like to trade. So I use the DXY a lot just to understand where the US dollar value is. And then the BXY is the British pound currency index, right? And it's a little choppier. Why? I'm not 100% sure why some of them are like a lot choppier than others. Like the DXY is like a real smooth chart, but like the BXY is like a little choppy in areas. I actually haven't really fully discovered why. I think it's just because of the price gaps. Like DXY doesn't really close throughout the week, but the British pound index, it does. It closes at like 5 or so. So I think with that, having those session closes is what causes all the gaps. But that all like make more sense and shit as you go through like those videos.
But
so man, what I'll actually do is bro, I'm gonna go ahead, bro, and we just gonna mark up a whole fresh chart. Just so like you can kind of get an understanding of what exactly I'll be looking at and how do I look at charts, right? And I was actually like doing a little pre-trial on this just because I never trade this pair. So I'll delete all that. So for me, what I like to do is a top-down analysis, right? So that means I typically start from the weekly time frame. So each one of these candlesticks represents 1 week of trading, right? So Monday through Friday, or technically Sunday through Friday. Each candle represents 1 week of trading, right? So I typically start at the weekly time frame. And the main thing that I'm looking for here is I'm trying to identify my support zones and my resistance zones, right?
yeah.
So your support zones are going to be where you see your price. It's kind of like your support is pretty much like your floor, right? So typically when a price hits the floor, it bounces back up. And then your resistance is going to be your ceiling, right? So when price hits your ceiling, it's going to typically fall down. Or, in lame sense, that's what support and resistance is, right? So how I typically do that is just looking for where you see price reject, right? So the first thing I typically do is I'm looking. So since this is a week, right? We don't want to be looking back at too much price action from like 2005 and shit like that, right? So I typically try to keep it with the weekly within I'll say like a year or two of where price is, just because of the major significance weekly zones have on price, right? So the longer a support or resistance zone is, structured, right? So the longer it takes for price to break below, let's just say, boom, this is a support zone, right? So the longer it takes for price to break below this zone right here, the stronger this zone overall is getting, right? Nothing's breaking through it. So pretty much what I like to do is I like to identify my major weekly zones, right? And I just break everything down from weekly, daily, 4 hour. And I typically stop around a 4 hour just because it's when we get down to the 1 hour, price is more chaotic, more noisy, right? because you got so many different candles. When you stick to the higher time frames, like the 4 hour, mostly the 4 hour and the daily, you'll realize like it's a lot easier to read in the price and where price is going, just because it's not all the noise of the candles, and you know what I'm saying, you don't have too much to look into, right?
Yeah.
So for me, and this is something I kind of have talked about, but I haven't talked about too much yet. It's kind of going to be in the intermediate course, I think, right? So when I'm identifying my support and resistance, right, first thing I'm gonna do is I just like to throw it into a line chart. So the line chart tells us exactly where price ended at that exact moment, right?
Yeah.
But when you got the candlestick chart, it shows you like how far price went up or how far price went down. So I just want to, since I'm marking out my zones, I just want to get those significant price levels first. First thing I'll do is right. I'm gonna look to see where is price really catching support, right? And I'm gonna use this zone here. We're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So we're seeing this support zone act very significant, right? And then I do is price. So you see these numbers on the side, right?
Yeah.
These are your price numbers or your exchange rate numbers, right? But how these numbers are is how we see these major zeros at the end. So if we zoom, like the deeper we get in, the more it breaks down price, right? So we see the 1.1, 1.1750, 1.8, you know what I'm saying? So it goes up by 50 or 500 or whatever. And price loves those whole numbers, right? So when it ends in like 1.06000, right? Price loves to respect these whole number quarter point levels, right? They're called quarter points or whole point levels. So oftentimes, like when you look in at charts, you'll see price has a major rejection at these quarter point levels, right? So that's the main thing I like to focus on, is identifying all my major quarter point levels, right?
Yeah.
My next one is, and I'll just take it from the bottom, and typically like, boom, you'll see I'll just grab a line, and what I'm doing is I'll either start from the bottom or I'm starting from the top. I'm just placing the line, right? What I did in the beginning, a lot of times is just move, and you just move the line up until you can see like, okay, boom. Once you get here, you say, all right, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So we see price acted as resistance, resistance, resistance. Once price broke above this resistance, we see it also retested this same area as a support. We'll go over that in the video. So oftentimes what you'll see is with support and resistance zones, they're not 100% definite. Like it's not like price is never going to break above or price is never going to break below. But oftentimes what you'll see is once price breaks above, let's say this is resistance, right? So once price broke above this resistance, what it'll do is it'll come back and retest this area as a support, right? So that way it'll, so you'll see price break up, retest, and then continue to, you know what I'm saying, move higher and do that. So let's see. So we identified our major support. We identified our next level that was a resistance, but eventually turned into support, right? So we're just identifying all our key levels, right? And once I get them all marked up, we'll break it down even smaller, right? So let's see. Taking it back here. So now we got all those levels marked up, and you see, like, look, even though we was looking at price in just this area, right, and just this bracket, but when we look back, we see price has still been respecting these same zones, right? So you see,
Mm-hmm.
boom, and this is we looking back, and this is price action from 2004 and on, right? 2008, 2009. We see so a lot of times what you'll see is these old zones are still respected in future, right? So
Yeah.
typically, one of the big trading sayings is what happens in the past will surely repeat itself, right? So when you're able to identify those key zones, and how I like to trade is I really just trade from the major zones to the major zones, right? So keeping everything real simple. So then once we kind of got those zones marked up, I like to make it a box, right? So it's more of an area instead of a direct line, right? Because price is not going to touch line is going to be a box, right? So let's see. So when it comes to me and drawing up my zones, always like to kind of get where price is most active, right? So if we zoom in here, let's just say zoom in here, right? So we see price is most active within this range right here, right? Like even though price does come down here past our initial support zone, we know the main support zone right here, right, is still holding solid. The main area that price is still getting rejected at is still holding solid. So we're not going to worry about, you know what I'm saying, this price action here because we know this is just our general zone and price can come further down. And this is a weekly level chart, right, that we're marking up. So this support level is going to have a little bit of girth to it, right? It's not going to be a super small zone. So then what I like to do is I just mark out what is that? 1, 2, 3. So just telling myself that way in the future, I don't have to look at it and be like, oh, what zone is this? You know what I'm saying? Boom. I just already, as soon as I mark up that, I just come. All right, and what I'm doing when I'm marking on my zones is first I align one of the lines, whether it be the top or the bottom, align that to where I put my initial line at, right? And then I'm doing the same thing I did with the bottom. I'm finding pretty much the most active range where price is kind of resisting or getting support at, right? So we see this area right here is our main area. We see 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing a lot of touches in this zone. Right, so then what I do, I just drag these zones out where price currently is. So and then once you got a I think this is a pretty good zone. So instead of redrawing another zone, I'll just make sure, okay, boom, that zone still fits pretty nice. If it didn't, I would just adjust it. But yeah, that zone is fitting nice. I like it. You see, boom, perfect support zone under here. This price action, 1, 2, 3. So I like that. So we're gonna go ahead and this is price level is this. So, resistance, support. So that's gonna be a resistance zone right now. So we identified that resistance zone. Two, 4, 5, 5. So now that we got our major higher time frame levels marked out, right? So it makes this a lot simpler. So now, like, what you want to do is now you want to identify the trend, right? So is price going up, is price going down, or is price just moving sideways, right? That's your three main trends. And that's pretty much the only three ways price is going to move. It's either going to go up, go down, or it's just going to move sideways. And you're not going to get a whole lot of like volatility swings. So when we're looking at this, I like to go to the daily. And first, I just like to zoom out, get an overall picture, right? So just because I have more of an eye for it, I'm like, okay, we see price that came down. I just like to play it back a bit, right? So I'm like, okay, I'll go into daily and I'll just look back like, all right, until I'll find a point that makes sense, right? Like I don't try to overcomplicate. I try to keep shit simple. So I'll find where price was at its nearest support or resistance zone, and then I'll go from how price reacted there, right? So we see, okay, price that came up here, met resistance, came down, met support, gave us our uptrend momentum, so higher highs and higher lows, right? So that's what makes up an uptrend. And I'll just go ahead and type that out. I can find the type box. Right. So when you're identifying trends, right? Trends are made up, or the two trends that are made up is your uptrend, right? Which consists of price making a higher high. So we see price made a higher high and then a higher low. Then it's going to come up, make another higher high. It's come down, make another higher low, right? Just for understanding. Boom. So got your higher high, got your higher low, right? So we're identifying prices. It's in the uptrend, right? We see prices moving upwards. Boom. Price is moving up. All right. So we got price moving up in our uptrend. We see, okay, price has come near our 1.22000 resistance zone. So now we're just identifying what is price doing this on, right? So we see price came up, met resistance, came down, started giving us a bearish structure. All right. So you got lower lows, right? Those are your trend identifiers when it comes to a downtrend, right? So downtrend is going to be a lower low, which means price is just breaking lower than it previously was. And then I'm actually place my lower low a little bit lower. I think I want to place it around here, right? So price making your lower low. And then you're going to have price when it breaks back up, giving you your lower high, right? So on a downtrend, what you'll see is price go, boom, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? So we identify the price at this current moment, right? Currently, it's in a downtrend. So you have your overall move, right? Which is moves from like your daily, right? So we see if we're looking at, like, if I was looking at this overall currently, I would say I would be looking at the last move from a support or resistance. So I'll say overall right now, what I'm seeing is we're in a bearish market, right? But what I like to do personally is I just like to go back, right, and replay some of those previous moments just so I know that what I'm seeing, like my first thought is right. So I'm identifying, okay, price was in an uptrend, right? Higher highs, higher lows, boom. We met a resistance zone of 1.22000. And then we see what price started to do is once it met this resistance, it started moving bearish, right? So price started pulling down. Once price started pulling down, it's giving us downtrend, you know what I'm saying, momentum. So we're getting lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. And we see we get this lower low, but price fails to break below this lower low, right? Which tells us price can either be doing two things. If it's failed to create a new lower low, it's either now uptrending or it's moving sideways, right? It's ranging. So we see price start to give us uptrend moves, right? And you can kind of tell the difference between a downtrend, uptrend moves, and just like corrections is because we see when price was moving here, we see that clear higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, right? We see those clear movements, at least on a daily, right? When price started to move bearish, we saw the clear movements, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? But when we're looking at this area right here, right, this particular area in price, right, we're not seeing a lot of higher high, higher low type of formative moves. We're just seeing price slowly etch up, right? And if we break it down into a lower time frame, we can see like, okay, we're getting small movements here, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, right? So we do get smaller movements on the smaller time frames, but on the higher time frames, like on a daily time frame, we're seeing this price action really is not, it's not showing us a strong uptrend, right? It's just showing us prices really just coming up to retest this zone, which it does, and it kind of gives us a market pattern that I think is in a beginner's course, right? It kind of gives us a double top with either these two tops, right? So a double top with a lower right shoulder, or you can say it's forming a double top from this last rejection of this lower high point. Boom, comes down, catches midway support, right? Moves back up, rejects off this resistance zone again, and now we're seeing our current price action, right, of this downtrend. So breaking down this, where price is currently at and what it's doing, right? So we're seeing we have price reject. Let me get rid of some of this. Actually, I'm gonna leave it there, right? So we see we have this price rejection. And now we're seeing a little bit clearer of when it comes to market movement. So lower low, lower high, barely etched out a lower low, lower high, lower low. That might be an equal high, but you know what I'm saying? Well, right, we're still seeing this lower low, lower high formation, downtrend formation, right? As well as we also can clearly identify price is moving down, right? We can see price keeps going lower. All right, so once we identified, okay, we know the trend, right? So we know our trend is a bearish trend. I'll say 9 times out of 10, you want to trade with the trend, right? So let's just say we identify this trend is bearish, right? Which means price is coming down. What we don't want to do too often is counter trend trade, right? So we don't want to see, oh, price is super bearish, let me get on our buy, right? Because 9 times out of 10, there's a little trading saying, how does it go? The trend is your friend until the end when it bends, right? But typically what people say is just the trend is your friend, right? So you never want to try to go too much against the trend, because 9 times out of 10, it'll bite you in the ass more times than it'll help you, especially in the beginning. Now there are people who are specifically counter trend traders, or people who have an eye enough to see like, all right, price might reject here and things like that. But I feel like that more so takes some getting used to, take some time to get your eyes used to identifying support, resistance, and things like that. Understanding different candlesticks to understand when price is gonna possibly reverse back up or reverse back down. But typically what you want to do is you want to stay with what the trend is, right? That just, it just helps you clear out a lot of the clutter on when it comes to, all right, do I want to buy this or do I want to sell, right?
Hell yeah, because I'll be seeing a lot of people, they'll like, I know you heard of like buy low, sell high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see a lot of people, they wait till a stock is at its lowest and then they'll buy in. And then when it gets at its highest, like when it start going up, they'll sell. And I started to do that. And once it would get high, I would like keep it in there and I wouldn't sell it. And then it'll go lower than what I bought it at. You know what I'm saying? So then I started to lose money.
Mm-hmm. And essentially, bro, we doing that same thing. So like, if we look back here, initially, right, when you're talking about buy low, sell high, what we're doing, right, we're trading in an uptrend market.
Yeah.
We're not looking to get in at this price. This price right here is shitty, right? See price dips after. What we're looking for is we want to get in on the higher low point, right? So we want to get on our lowest possible point, so that way we can ride price as it trends back up, right?
Yeah.
And as we start to see the commotion here, we might get out of our position, right? So we might just we might close our position here, right? Because now we're waiting till we can get price to pull back down again. And once we get that, our pull back down, we identify we're creating another higher low. Then we're getting in again, right? So then boom. And then we're riding that up. And some people they like to trade it both ways. So they'll trade this, boom, sell here, and then buy here. But you know what I'm saying? That's just too much in and out. I don't feel like doing all that shit.
Yeah.
I just want my nice price, and I'm gonna let whatever else work out. But I'm not trying to catch everything. The biggest thing, bro, and I'll say the biggest lesson that I'll say helped me was don't look at trading as making money. Look at trading as how can I preserve my capital the longest. I'm telling you that that change in mindset. Because then instead of you looking for, let's just say, any trade to get into, when you're looking to make money, you're gonna be looking to get in any possible trade that you think can make you money. Because that's what your mindset is focused on, making money. But when you focus on preserving, right? When you focus on preserving your money, it's totally different. Because now instead of getting into any trade, you're gonna be getting in the best possible trades that leave you the best position to make your money grow or to at least lose the least amount of money.
Yeah.
All right. So trading is really, really, really like 90% risk management. It's like 80% risk management. Yeah, it's about 80% risk management, 10% trading psychology, and 10% buying or selling. Actually, it's like 15% trading psychology, 5% buying and selling. Buying and selling, that's the easy part. It's understanding your risk that makes it hard. It's understanding your trading psychology when, let's just say, you know where price is going to go, right? Let's just say you know where price is going to go, but you entered, let's just say you enter price. You enter price like right here. And now you got price coming down past where you entered, but you're still, you know what I'm saying, having that trading psychology, having that right trading plan. Some people would close this trade just because they get that fear of, oh, I over leveraged, so now I'm losing way more money than I really wanted to on this trade, or I wasn't too confident in this trade. So now as soon as I start to see I'm losing money on this trade, I'm gonna instantly close it. You take those factors away once you understand, one, your risk management, your trading psychology, right? So that's the two biggest things. Like once we start getting past the basic course, beginner's course, those are one of the focal points. Because if mastering those two is really essence mastering trade. Because once you master your trading psychology and your trading discipline, it don't matter. You can be a shitty trader and still do better than non-shitty traders just because you're not making as many mistakes as they're making, or you're learning from the mistakes instead of just constantly remaking the same shit, same shit, right? So that's what we want to focus on, right? Is really just understanding the concept of we're here to preserve money. If you get that concept in your head first before you think about making money, I promise you're gonna make way more money than you would if you just instantly come in like, oh, I'm just trying to make money. No, just think about, hey, I'm trying to learn a new skill set. I'm trying to invest. Like, hey, I say a lot of times people look at trading and things like this, like trading or anything. A lot of people like the quick gratification of thing, like, oh, let me do this real quick. You got to really look at trading how you look at anything else, like college, anything like that. Like, bro, you're not going to come in your freshman year and make varsity. 9 times out of 10, it's not happening, right?
Yeah.
So you got to look at it as like, all right, when I come into this, I know I got to start with my red shirt. I got to work my way up. And then I get to JV, or I get on the squad. Then I get to varsity. Then I'm getting my real PT time once I put in that practice, once I put in them hours when nobody else was looking, or when we was at practice. Now when it's time to play the game, I'm fully prepared to play the game, right? So a lot of people just try to hurry up, boom, boom, boom. I'll see such made money, such did this. And they get too caught up in how quick because you can make money in this motherfucker quick, bro. Like, there's only two ways to make money, buying or selling. So anytime you place a trade, you automatically have a 50% chance of being right. And that 50% chance is what catches people up, because oftentimes they might make a few trades in the beginning, like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Nah, man, you just happen to click the right button, because sometimes you might know what you're doing. Sometimes you just click the right button, bro. It's only two options. So you ain't got hella room. It's not like you got 7, bro. You got 2 options. Price either gonna go up, go down, or go sideways. So understanding that helps you keep in mind, even when you're on a cool ass winning streak, anything can happen, right? That's one of the fundamental things to understand in this market. Anything can happen, right? No 2 moments in this market is ever the same. It don't matter if you see in price do the exact same thing you did last week with the exact same candles at the exact same time. Every factor is different, because in this market, every day there's different people with a different mindset who see a different thing. So even if it might have did one thing last week and it looked like it's doing the same thing this week, it might do that same thing, but don't have that complete expectation that it's going to do that same thing just because it did it last week. No, last week had a totally different vibe to it. You know what I'm saying? It had totally different people in the market with totally different mindsets. This is a whole new week with whole new people. You got to look at every market, every second, every day in this market is this new. It's a development. It's literally, it's happening as we speak, right? So you can't never look at this like, oh, I just know everything, or oh, it's doing the same thing it did yesterday. Even though like there might be some validity to that statement, oftentimes it's not doing the same thing as yesterday because it's not the same people. It might do something similar, even very fucking close, but the same thing it'll never do because it's not gonna have the same people, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to like, let's just say back to this, right? We looking at this, we looking at Euro USD. We like, all right, I'm trying to see how can I, where can I be able to see price and make the best educated speculation on where price is going to go, right? So when I'm looking at this, I see, okay, price on the downtrend, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, right? So the first thing that I'm identify is, okay, I saw price come into this support zone, right? It was previously resistance, broke above, now support, right? So once it broke above this zone, it was support. Now that it's broken back below, it's back to being a resistance zone, right? But what we're really looking at, first thing I'm gonna really be identifying is we got a lot of consolidation, right? So we got a lot of time where price just traded, and this is what I say when I mean like a sideways market, right? So uptrend, downtrend, and some people call it a ranging market, some people call it consolidation, sideways. They all mean the same thing, and this is what they're talking about, right? Where you're seeing this is daily. This is the daily time frame. So this is every bit of about what, a week or two of trading. More than that, right? This is about a month and a half of trading, and you see price didn't really go nowhere significant. Not compared to what it was doing back here. We saw price, you know what I'm saying, going up or going down. We see price going at the same level. So we see price was ranging, right? We see price stopped ranging for a second. And we saw price shoot back into this resistance zone, right? So now we see, okay, it's back in this resistance zone. It's either going to want to continue to break up and use this as a support zone, or it's going to break down, use it as resistance. So we saw price come to this zone. It printed us a bearish engulfing, right? When you go through that, you'll understand that, right? And that's, this candle pretty much fully engulfs the candle beside it, right? So this candle It's a bad line, right? It's pretty much fully engulfing the candle next to it, right? So what this is telling us is that the bears, right, the sellers in the market have control, right? So now that we are identifying sellers got a little control, we're like, okay, cool. What I would want to say is I want to see price break below here because we know this is our last lower low, right? So we see this lower low, lower high. This is still our last lower low point. So price still needs to break below this level right here for us to still be in a downtrend, right? And price needs to break above this level to really confirm that we're in an uptrend. Because in order for a uptrend or downtrend to be reversed, it first has to break the previous level, right?
Yeah.
So this lower low, lower high. So for price to be considered, at least how I look at it, for me to consider this going from a downtrend to an uptrend, I need to see price break above the previous higher low, right? So once price breaks above this, boom, now I can look at this like, okay, now we may be in the uptrend. But as it stands right now, my thoughts are still we're in a downtrend. Why? Because that's our trend, right? Our trend hasn't been broken. Only thing our trend has been done is it consolidated for a bit and currently is retesting the same zones, but it hasn't been broken. Nothing about this yet tells us, okay, the buyers have took over. They haven't, because we see price came down. It met resistance, came right back down to this same area that it identified as its lower low, right? It didn't break below. It gave us another formation. Now we have here, now what we have here is this candlestick formation here with these three candles. What this is called is a morning star pattern, right? So a morning star pattern is identified when you have a strong bearish candle followed by a doji or a spinning top, you know, a candle that's very, very small. It looks just like this, followed by a strong bullish candle, right? So your bearish candles are going to be your sellers, right? And your bullish candles are going to be your buyers. So we see, okay, now we're having a positive confluence for price to be going up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we see like, okay, and we see price made its way right back up, but it didn't pass this resistance. So now we're looking at another scenario where we might have a double top because we're seeing price one top comes down, two tops. And we see if we look back at our previous movements here, we can see kind of had that same thing here, right?
Yeah.
This area, right? This one's just kind of a lot more cleaner, but essentially it's the same thing. It's telling us, they kind of tell us the same thing, right? And what we're looking at is we want to identify, okay, what is price doing? So we're looking. All right, I'm gonna look at these candles. Now we're gonna break it down because now we're getting into today. What's been going on this week, the last couple of days, right? So this is the trading for this week, right? So we see when the week started on the 6th, we have not really made any progress towards moving bullish or bearish. We've been in the same resistance zone, but we see when it comes to the candles of this resistance zone, we are having a lot stronger bearish candles. When we look at these bearish candles, we're seeing strong bearish candles, and we're seeing very weak, very small, very, very small bullish candles. So what this is able to kind of tell us, like, okay, it looks like sellers are still in control, right? They haven't lost control. They're not going anywhere. It looks like sellers are still in control, right? So with that, now we're taking in not only the technical, like this, looking at a chart, breaking down a chart, this is the technical side of trading, right? You also got the fundamental part, which is your news, your news reports. And I go over that in the last video, the basic course, technicals versus fundamentals. But since I know technically, right, my technicals are telling me we're currently sitting in a resistance zone in a downtrend with a possible formation of a double top. So I got three confluences that I should only be looking at sales right now, right? We're in a downtrend. We're sitting right in a resistance zone, and we have a possibility chart formation of a double top, right? And a double top is pretty much just like a little M telling you price is gonna go down. All right, so boom, 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 and I'll draw it right. Let's see. So a double top pretty much just literally looks like an M, right? And when we looking at this, that's kind of what the boom, 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 right? So I need a confirmation for a price to continue to really break down below this zone here for me to really be like, okay, now I'm really confirmed price is still bearish. But knowing fundamentals, knowing that tomorrow the US is going to release its inflation report, a CPI, right? Which is going to gauge, which is CPI report is your consumer price index, which is a gauge on the change in difference in inflation, right? The change in prices and things like that. I know, knowing my fundamentals, that our CPI data has been positive every month for like damn near a year and a half, right? So inflation is constantly going up. Like if you go to the store and shit, you probably notice like, nigga, your price of shit ain't the same. Yeah. Your backwoods ain't the same. You go to the store, try to get an Arizona, that motherfucker's not $1.05 no more. Now that bitch like $1.50, $1.75. And that's because we've seen inflation rise. So inflation is how much it's going to cost you to get something, right? So if inflation is going up, typically the currency related is going to be going up too, because that means, you know what I'm saying, you got to use more of this currency just to get the same shit you was getting, because the value of it is now increasing.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird concept how that works, but now knowing that, I'm still looking at sales, right? I'm still going to be primarily bearish on this because I know the fundamental aspect on top of my confluences. I know the fundamental aspect of, okay, I know US dollar has some news coming out tomorrow that'll probably more than likely push the US dollar up. So if the US dollar goes up in value and is trading against the euro, that's going to force the euro to go down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if I take a look at my dollar chart, clear some of this away, right? I'll take a look. Actually, I need a couple of those to make this make sense. Let's see. If I look at my dollar chart, right, and it's pretty much the same shit that we got over here, except for I got more zones drawn up, more shit like that. I'm not going to erase this because I don't feel like doing all this again. But like, boom, if we see like this area right here, right? This is our flag pattern, which is a bullish pattern. And we see price did try to move bullish, but failed and broke back in. So, and it's kind of a lot similar. Not do it like this just so it's not too messy. Yeah, that looks better. And we seeing like, okay, price has been respecting just support and resistance. They're not just straight across. You also got within channels, right? So we seeing price has been respecting this diagonal support line. Besides this area here, which came down and respected our quarter point support, price is respecting this diagonal support line, right? And we see price came down to this line at the end of last week, and we see price has been moving up, higher high, higher low, right? Higher high, higher low, right? So with this concept, we're looking at how price is, looking at this pattern, even though we have strong, very strong bearish momentum from last week. What we're seeing, right? We're seeing prices finding a support zone within this diagonal support channel or this bullish flag, and we're seeing prices starting to catch some buyers, right? So we're seeing the buyers are starting to come into action. They're starting to buy up price. Price this week has literally not moved a lot at all in the last like week and a half, and that's why you see EU that's why you see this price moving like this, right? Like not really doing a whole lot. Because when you look at the DXY is doing the same thing, right? It's not really going anywhere. So since it's not really going anywhere, unless the euro is getting very strong in value or it's getting very negative in value, the euro USD chart is not going to go anywhere either, right? Because the USD is the pretty much typically the strongest currency when related to another pair, right? So the strength of the US dollar is typically a lot stronger than the strength of the euro. So when you have that consolidation of DXY, what that's going to translate to typically is a consolidation on the chart that's trading against it as well. Now it's not every time, because you can have let's just say the British pound, right? GU is a good example, right? So we see GU has kind of been moving in the upwards momentum, but that's because if we look at the British pound, right, we look at this, we see this price has been doing some movement. And this is today, right? And the main movement that it made today was, and we'll talk about gaps and everything like that, but price closed here at this level, but it opened back up here. And so what price did is it dropped back to this level here. So since the British pound dropped, right, in value, and the US dollar was just moving stagnant, kind of, what that caused was for GU to have enough wiggle room to be able to move up. All right, and that was this move up today. And then once the British pound started to fall, let's see, boom. Once it had this huge fall in value, right, that's where we're seeing that increase when it comes to GU, or decrease, I mean. So since that British pound started to fall, right, since we're trading the British pound versus the dollar, since the pound was falling, GU fell as well, right? And I'm actually pretty still bearish on this. I think I'm in a sell right now, but looking at price action, what it'll probably do, right, is watch. We'll see how this works out. I'll say we'll probably see price. I'll say what we'll probably see tomorrow. And we're gonna see how this plays out. Probably see price come up to this level, and then reject off, and at least head to this 1.35 100 support, or start to head lower to this 1.34 600 level support, right? And that's just purely off of looking at the same kind of fundamentals we were looking at when it comes to EU, right? So we're looking predominantly, this chart we see is moving down, right? So I already know first thing, I should be really looking for sales in this, right? So now I identified I'm looking for sales. I'm looking for what are my best sale opportunities. I'm looking at how the candlesticks are, what the candlesticks are telling us, right? And we go over that a lot in the course, or more in the, we go over the little bit, we explain the candlesticks in the basic. We'll start to dig more in that as the course goes on, but we see price is not showing us a lot of strength, right? So we see we have this huge bearish candle, and we see now the candles are just getting smaller and smaller. And I guarantee you this will probably close out smaller, probably close out like right here, or it might just close out like this and give us that push up before we start pushing down. Because what this typically is showing us is like, okay, price is losing that bearish strength, right? So it's not having as many sellers as was in the market previously. And now we're seeing, okay, buyers starting to come in, and buyers may just push this price up here, and then before the sellers come back in, right, and get back and push that price back down. Yeah. with this week was like a really weird week. It wasn't a lot of technicals going on, and plus you had or a lot of fundamentals going on until tomorrow. Like tomorrow, a lot of news reports come out. Let's see. So we see like for the U.S. dollar, core inflation, like we look. So now you can tell people what inflation is. Our current inflation rate is 7.3. It's pretty high. So right, we got a lot of news coming out tomorrow. CPI, core CPI, unemployment. So when you see, and I go over this in videos too, but Forex Factory is like one of the main sites I use for like my news. And typically what I'm looking at is the news reports that are based on the currencies that I'm trading, like Great Britain, Pound, USD. Those are main folders I'm looking at. And I'm typically looking at the red and the orange folders, right? The red is going to be our heavy impact. So what's going to do the most to price when it releases. And then, you know, orange is going to be our medium. So it may do some movement, may not, or may not do a whole lot of movement. And then our yellows is kind of like low impact. It's not really, it typically, I don't see yellow folders do too much to price, but they can play a part. But for the most part, what I'm looking at is the red and orange folder. So we got two orange folders, followed by two red folders. And I think, and a red GBP folder. So we see we got some news coming out tomorrow, and this is why my main outlook on DXY is that it's going to continue to push up, and we'll see pairs like EU. We'll probably see EU start to push down, and we'll see GU start to push down. Pretty much, man. That's all we're gonna touch on today. We're gonna see how these EU. I'm especially eager to see how EU plays out because man, I ain't marked up EU and I don't know how long. I ain't looked at this pair ever, so I want to see how this one plays out for sure.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, man. That's it for this class, man. That's all I wanted to really go over is just kind of giving a little insight to the support, resistance, you know what I'm saying, how I look at it, what I do, what's my typical thought process when I look at charts. So like we see, I keep shit hella simple. I didn't do nothing but draw up some support and resistance zones.
Yeah.
And then from there, like, bruh, I'll move off price action. A lot of people have a lot of indicators, things like that. I'm not really big on that. I let price just tell me what it's going to do just by reading price and understanding that. And just by also understanding anything can happen. So I'm never over risking. I'm never emotionally involved in my trades. You know what I'm saying? Like shit, if it lose, it lose. If it win, it wins. You know what I'm saying? I got a game plan either way. I got a game plan on when to get out trades, when to get in trades, when to take profits. So it's really about having your game plan and sticking to your game plan and just understanding that, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's a learning process, a learning curve. Like shit, I learn new shit every day, and I've been at this for a minute. I'd be surprised sometimes. I'd be like, damn, bro, I still be learning. It'd be crazy. I'd be talking to other traders who'd be like 8 years in the game. They're like, bro, I still be learning new shit all the time. So it'd be like, it's kind of like working in the IT field or technology, cars, anything. Everything is always constantly evolving. So you can't never just get too stuck in one thing. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be able to see the whole picture for what it really is and what it's trying to tell you.
Bro.
Yeah, but other than that, bro, you got any questions, anything for me?
Shit, not right now. I like how you broke down the support and resistance zones though, because now it's kind of like standing out to me, like, and especially like the sideways pattern. Because as I look at some stocks, they stay in that pattern. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be just looking at that shit like, what the hell? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I like how you.
Yeah. What's crazy is like, even though like the main thing I do is like foreign exchange trading, forex trading is the same shit. Like learning like how I teach trading, it can apply to stock market, futures market, crypto market. Like I use this same style of understanding. Like technicals don't change. Like once you understand support, resistance, marking up a chart, you know what I'm saying, understanding the different functionalities of a chart and price action, things like that. Bro, that shit, you can take that, like you can take that, you can go trade stocks, go trade cryptos, go trade literally anything you fucking want once you understand the technicals behind shit, bro. It make everything else, that's everything. That's, bro. Like when you talking about stocks, I got stocks in this bitch. Got Apple right here. Hey, that same book, them same patterns we was just talking about. You know what I'm saying? And looking at the same thing, like, look, price broke above it, retested, broke back, double, triple top, comes back down. So find support at this same price on that it was just at, goes back up. You know what I'm saying? So it makes identifying everything super simple, bro. Like all of this shit, like you see, it's just really the repeated same shit. We see price boom, range, you know what I'm saying? Broke down, lower low, comes back up, lower high, right? And we can see price. With Apple, it ranges because Apple be on some bullshit. But like honestly, bro, I was expecting Apple, and I still kind of am. I'm expecting Apple. I wanted to drop back within this channel and find support. And we see it halfway did. It was right there.
Yeah.
So like just different. Then I think I got another real good one in here somewhere. Shit, Neo was a good markup. You see, just simple as. Hold on, wait. And you see, I ain't marked up this chart since before price. Last time I marked up this chart, price was still like in this area here. So understanding your support, your resistance, you see, if I was trading this stock, the same level, this 20.4, right? It's the same level it came right to and bounced off of. So, you know what I'm saying? Hey, this shit, it translates over to more markets than you would even guess. Like, bro, that's a couple markets. Hey, and this one, I was actually in this trade on this stock. I was in the option call, bro. And bro, I was mad because I got in at like $6 on an option call. I don't know if you know much about options, but I got in on an option call. And like the first break, I was in it forever. And then it literally, bro, when I say I got out like right here, price did bullshit for like a week and then shot up, bro.
Oh man.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, that I don't get emotionally attached. I don't be tripping, but at the same time, I was like, that's some bullshit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But shit, bro. Hey, once you get the hang of like fundamentals, technicals, everything like that, bro, you'll see this shit. It becomes real easy, bro. So no matter if you want to trade stocks heavy, cryptos, or foreign exchange, futures, it don't matter. You're gonna be able to do that shit.
Yeah.
Man, so I'm gonna go ahead, hop off of here. I'm gonna post this recording. So if you want to go back, you know what I'm saying, look at the recording, look at how we talked about, just look at how I marked up things. This will be posted in the class recording section. And in about like an hour, it takes like an hour for Zoom to upload everything and shit. But I'll get that posted as soon as it's uploaded and ready for me to be able to post, man.
Bet. Appreciate you, fam.
Yes, sir, man. Just stay active in the group, man. You know, I'm always posting, I'm always talking. So you got any questions, you know, you always can ask me. You know what I'm saying? You got my number, you know what I'm saying? All that
bro.
shit.
Yeah.
You know, you could always hit me up. You can hit me up in group chat, send me a text, it don't matter. And then what I'll say is once you go through like that basic course, let me know and I want to get you set up on like a demo account. So that's one cool thing about Forex and shit. You can get set up on a demo account so you can learn how to trade without having to use your own money. But it literally is the same shit. Like it trades the same exact way. So we get you all set up with that, man. Make sure we getting you right in the game.
Oh yeah, that's green.
Yeah, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop off here. But hey, man, like I said, you know, if you got any questions, anything like that, man, just go ahead and hit me up.
I got you, fam.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right, bro.